Hello, my name is Bradley and I'm your host of The Internal Game, back with another video for the membership side. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about self-mastery, and it's something that's really important to me. It's kind of how I live my life because the whole manifesting thing is just a byproduct of who you're being, you know what I mean? Sometimes we get caught up on trying to manifest and trying to do things so we get something out there, right? And there's nothing wrong with this, but we don't ever want to forget that this is an inside-out world. That's why you hear me all the time. Inside first, outside second. Inside first, outside second. Inside first, outside second. And when I first made the YouTube channel, like my very first video, I was like, hey, my name is Bradley. I'm your host of The Internal Game. I don't know why I said the host of The Internal Game, but I said it, and I've stuck with it ever since. But nonetheless, like right after that, I said, hey, I'm just making a video to start a YouTube channel that's gonna document my journey to self-mastery. And I'm proud to say that I have not veered away from that yet. Doesn't mean one can't, but like I highly doubt it, because I make that the primary importance of my life, is my state of being inside. Like my internal state of being is the primary focus of my life, because like Eckhart said, if you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. So if you're being a person who's not buying into a bunch of shit, if you're being a person who is more concerned as what goes on within them as they are without out there, then the things that you want they're going to find you. They're going to, and if it looks like it's not, if it looks like it's the opposite, it's going to turn into that. It's going to turn into you, because it really is an inside first, outside second game. Okay, so I was gonna make a video about this for the public side. I mean, you guys get to watch it too, but like, you don't have a problem about what I'm about to say. Is that you don't have a problem telling a new story. Telling a new story is easy, right? Not buying into this story this identity that we're trying to make old is the challenging part, because the idea is to stop telling one story, start telling another one, and there you go, right? Stop being one way, start being another way, and there you go, right? Like the idea is simple, but like the challenge, like I've talked about many times, is not buying into these thoughts that are coming from this identity of how you see yourself, right? So if you can make your primary focus of your life not worried about out there, and pretty much cleaning up your state. I mean, it's a different state. You're kind of moving into a different one, but nonetheless, like being on guard, and just more concerned with your internal state. Then when you get these thoughts that are not ideal, you don't identify with them. When you see something that's not ideal, even though to tell you, it's not that it's not ideal, it's just perceived as not ideal. Right? Everything's neutral. It's not good or bad. And depending on how we see ourselves, depends on and the state of being that we're in, depends on how we're perceiving something. So if we start to disidentify with mind in general, like, and stop buying in a thought, we're not going to be rocked all the time and perceiving things as like a threat. Because when you're in fear, you perceive things as a threat. When you're anxious, you perceive things as an obstacle. When you're safe and solid, you perceive things as not a problem. This is ideal. This is self-mastery. Like getting to a place where you're not perceiving things as danger, knowing that nothing can fuck with you, right? Because if you cared more about doing that than trying to manifest, then the things that you wanted to manifest would find you. I know this, right? Because inside first, outside second. If you take care of your inner state, the outside takes care of itself, because it is you. So, and there's no separation from you and outside. There's no separation from you in person. There's no separation from you and money. There's no separation between you or anything. And when we are lost in mind all the time, that it feels extremely separate. Everything feels just right out of touch. Sometimes even way out of touch, right? Because we are way out of touch with who we are. So there's some things that I do that like I wanted to talk to you guys about like self-mastery. And it's just basically checking in with self. Not worried about what's going on out there too much, because I like to be able to enjoy my life in the present and have a good time with things that are right here, right now, right? And if I want experience, just I'm sure like you guys do, we all want this continuous type of growth, continuous experience. It's part of the game here, then we want to be able to start calling these shots from a place of knowing that it's inside first, outside second, and you got nothing to worry about because your state of being is good, because that's your main focus. So you want to be able to live life, literally, like and enjoy yourself. And then when you think of something, like it's done, and then if you want to tell a new story about something, how you want things to be, you start doing that. And all the while, not finding any reasons or my bad, not believing any reasons as to why these things are not possible or not going to happen, or you tried last time, it didn't work, all this unnecessary story. Because again, you don't have a problem with telling a new story, you have a problem with buying into the old one, which makes it a current one, right? So there's some things that help me that I do. I check on my state, and if there's something that needs to be thought about or done, obviously I'm not talking about something in the moment. If there actually was some type of immediate response needed, obviously I would handle that. But like for the most part, 99.99% of the time, nothing is urgent. Right? It may seem that way, but it's not. And I know that like how I take myself into a situation or even think about a situation matters. So I want to be in a favorable state, or at least a neutral one at the bare minimum, mainly neutral, I guess, like when I'm thinking about these things. So what this looks like is if I'm trying to get some work done, like I have a business outside of this, right? And if I want to get some work done, there's like some time crunch stuff or whatever, and it's like, okay, I gotta get this done. Like if I'm like hungry, really hungry, I know it may sound a little strange, but like I'm really tired, like at night if I'm working a lot, like I'm not going to think about it then. Not if I found myself in an upset mood, which I don't really, but like if I was, I wouldn't think about something then, because like it's not going to be perceived in the way that it needs to be perceived for me to have the experience that I want to have, right? So this is where checking in with your state comes into play. Like whether you be wanting to reach out to a person, whether you're wanting to do something outside to manipulate a situation where you can get what you want, right? But the brain's tricky. It's like, oh, I'm doing it because I just want to. I'm doing it because like I just want this or want that. But like really, it's trying to get some information, trying to get some feedback to feel safe, to feel wanted, to feel validated, right? In the specific person type of area. And ideally, we check in within ourselves before we do things. Doesn't mean that you have to do this all the time. Like when you're in a predominantly stable state, go ahead and handle your business, do whatever it is that you need to do. Think about whatever you need to think about, right? But like if you're not, that's when I would check in with that first and say, okay, listen, I'm not really in a state to perceive something, ideally. And my main priority here isn't to get something out there or tell a new story. My main priority is to get into a place where I can perceive something, ideally, right? Because this matters. And so a lot of times when we're in fearful places, doubtful places, just kind of, filling in the dumps, we're trying to get things fast to feel better. We're trying to affirm, we're trying to tell a new story. This is how it is, this is how it is. Like trying to feel better, trying to get something now to feel better. And state of being matters. It's not going to be perceived like if you're fearful, you're going to perceive things as threats. So you want to, no matter where you're at, like with maybe fearful, doubtful, whatever, you want to say, okay, listen, this isn't the time to think about it. This is not the time to create, because you're creating all the time, but I meant like intentionally create. You want to take a step back, breathe, get present for a second, realize that, hey, everything is fine right here, right now. All that's causing me issues is my imagination from a state that is not ideal to me. That's all that's happening, right? It's the thoughts that you're believing in that are fucking you up. It's not something out there. It's the imaginal act and then the fear and the buying into it. That's really getting you. So if you're in a state like this where this is happening, first and foremost, back out of that. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to, what have you. You just need to like get present, breathe, get yourself relaxed, not buy into thought, and then start to do your new story if you want to. If not, just continue your stability and then get yourself together. Yeah, after you got yourself together, then do it. But nonetheless, you're not going to be thinking about stuff, trying to manifest stuff, trying to create meaning to stuff like from these places, because this is self-mastery, working with yourself, not against yourself. Okay. And again, I can't express this enough. If you take care of the inside, the outside's going to fall into play. It may seem like you need to affirm specifically for this person. It may seem like you need to affirm specifically for this amount of money, but you don't. You take care of the inside, keep your stability, keep your God. You're always God. I don't care what state you're in, but like keep your free flowing essence about you, and things are going to turn into this, because the things that you are finding not ideal in your external world are there from this identity that you have been being. That's it. And they're there because you perceive certain things as certain ways from this type of belief system, from this identity, from these states of being. That's it. When you are no longer being this way, and you're more calm, and you're more still and collected, and on purpose, living on purpose instead of trying to get something to feel safe, then all that was out there that was created by this state of being, or my bad, reflected this state of being, has to drop, because you're no longer being that way. And it's not so much about looking out there all the time. Like, you want to enjoy your day, whatever's in front of you, make your plans, things like that, but you don't want to be lost in mind throughout the day and doing what you normally do, and worry and fear and doubt because you're buying into thought. You want to be a little bit more still, more relaxed, having a little bit more fun, right? Realizing that challenges are just perceived challenges, and they don't have to be identified with, things like that. And what I mean by this, like, just an example is, like, about a month ago, 2 months ago, I did like a fasting for like 3 days, and it's a bit challenging, right? It shows you like a lot about how, showed me a lot about how like one snacks when they don't necessarily need to, you know what I mean? Like, and kind of maybe snacks out of boredom, and nonetheless, it shows you a few things. But I noticed that I was getting irritated with my wife when she was doing the exact same things that she does every day, that aren't things that would irritate me. And again, perceived as irritable, because I was irritable. I had a mentor a long time ago tell me, he was like, "Hey Brad, are you upset?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you know why?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I know why, dude. That dude's a fucking asshole. That dude's a dick, bro." I was like, next time I see him, and he's like, no, that's not the reason you're upset. He's like, "You're upset because you're upsettable." I was like, huh. Not something I really wanted to hear, not even something that clicked. But it was just one of those things that I thought about later on, and I was like, dude, he was right. I was upset because I was upsettable. Like in Course in Miracles, it says you're never upset for the reason that you think. Or like in A Course in Miracles again, where they say, you must have an unconscious belief that getting upset buys you what you want. We want to know this, because, like, honestly, we must have an unconscious belief, something we're not conscious of, that, like, getting upset, buying into circumstance, getting mad about it, reacting. We must have an unconscious belief. Remember, unconscious, not conscious belief, that these things buy us what we want. That if we get upset, then we get our way. Because if not, why would we do it? Maybe it comes from childhood when we cried or something, and mom and dad or whoever raised you gave you something to get you to stop crying. I don't necessarily know where it comes from, but it's a thing. And we want to realize things like this and realize, okay, my reactions, my irritability, all these things belong to me, and the way I'm perceiving something, and the things that I'm believing about something, and the things that, like, I'm thinking that I'm not going to get or going to lose about something. All these things are coming from me. The way I respond, the way like, all these things. Like, so I don't need to. That's what you focus on when you're looking at self-mastery, not what somebody's doing, what somebody did, what you think somebody's doing. No, like, what is this evoking in me? How is my perception of this, or why is my perception of this evoking something in me? And then going to that, like, what am I fearful of? Is this true? And the answer is no, right? Is this true? Does this mean anything for certain? Does this mean I'm not going to get a person? No, it doesn't mean that, right? So you just want to be checking in with this, because when you start to do things like this, live like this, on purpose, on your state of being, and your reactions, and how your thoughts about things are, and again, not really worry too much about there at all, if any, then you're going to break these thought patterns, these chains that are tying you up into how you see self. I was telling somebody about, like, when you're in an identity, it's like a fish. It's like a fish in water. If you were to tell the fish what water is, you wouldn't know what you're talking about. Right? Like, when we're caught in these identities, we don't know that we're in water. We're just being this way because we've been being this way for a very, very long time. We don't know any better. So now identifying with the thought is scary. Thinking of letting things go is scary. We don't know what that is, right? But if you can start to really, really make a deal with yourself about, like, hey, I'm gonna worry more about, worry's not the good word, but I'm gonna be more concerned with what's going inside of me as I am out there. At least the same, right? if you can do that and really start checking in with your state of being and why you're doing things, and like, okay, is this a pattern that I've been in? Is this like, again, not identifying with it, being observant of like this, are these patterns? Is it, what kind of thoughts are these? These are not like my thoughts. These are an identity. What this emotion, like, can I let this emotion go? Do I have to be mad at somebody? No, I don't. Right? And if I can't let it go, when can I? Is it worth it? Right? Again, working with self, not against self. Not keeping these emotions that are serving you, not keeping these thoughts and creating meaning from these states of being, and saying, oh man, I keep trying, but I just keep getting pulled back. It's like, you got to give yourself a chance. And most importantly here, you really, really, really have to want to. You know, back in the day, somebody asked me on one of these membership live streams, they said, what was like the main turning point or whatever, and I was like, I just had enough pain. I was over it. Like, I finally was actually over it. It was the suffering had became too much. And the craziest part is that the suffering was all in the mind, right? So we want to start to realize that like our identities are, a lot of our identities are wrapped up in these and pain, and they feed off more pain. So they feed off of the resentment. They feed off of being upset. They feed off of, oh, poor me. They feed off of, oh man, this happened to me. It doesn't happen to anybody else. It feeds off things like this. And then you'll see, like, it gets its nutrients, and then it subsides again, and then you're back to like, man, I shouldn't react it. I shouldn't have thought that way. And then you're okay, I'm good now. And then you get the thought about somebody, and you get the thought about what happened to you. You get the thought about like what this means over here, and then you buy into it, right? And then you react again. You get that, and Eckhart calls it the pain body, but it's an identity. It's fed all this emotional pain. And then you react, and you say things, and you think things, and you spiral, and you're like, oh shit. And then it subsides, and you're like, oh shit, I should have done that. Damn, I'm not gonna get my stuff now. And it just becomes this like cycle. So we want to catch it while it's happening. We want to be more concerned about what's going on in here than what's going on out there. Because again, the things going on out there are just perceived from in here. So when you start to clean this up in here, out there will take care of itself. Now, I could make a long video on this. I could have different examples. You guys can definitely ask me questions, send me emails, whatever. I'm probably gonna do, I was thinking about this, a lot more videos on really trying to focus on more of a self-mastery approach, because, and like things that we can do, because like, that's everyone's hiccup, is the belief in inside first, outside second, matched with the wanting to be a different person but not knowing how, because we keep identifying with this way because it feels normal. Like, between those two, it's pretty hectic. But if we can start giving up our victimhood, we start giving up these thoughts and latching onto them and creating meaning out of circumstance that's only there because of an identity, and start breaking away from these things by just a thought. And, oh, what does this mean to me? Like, does it mean anything? It's just an emotion that I have. Like, I'm gonna let it go the same way I do thoughts. And you start like not identifying with these things. Oh, the circumstance. Yeah, I can see that, how I could perceive that way. But I know that it's inside first, outside second. And these emotions and these thoughts are mine, that come from this identity that I don't want to be a part of anymore. So I have to choose to look at it differently if I want to break this identity. I have to choose to let this go. Things like this. Because again, you can do things like this. Check in with if you're hungry. There's nothing wrong with being a little hungry, but I mean, like, if you're starting to get irritable, eat some food. Like, if you're starting to, because we'll talk later on about like not being, irritable even if hungry or something, but like right now, like, give yourself a chance. We're trying to make some lasting change in a more safe, stable, conscious, like on purpose state of being. Life changes like drastically when you do things like this. So, but we want to start the journey to self-mastery, not just manifesting things. Manifesting, again, is a byproduct of what you're doing internally. And the more safe, the more sound you are, the more conscious, the more purposeful and intentional you are with your state. That out there is just going to shape into this. Because even if we want the person, it's like, okay, well, we're going to perceive this person through this identity, so it doesn't matter. We're going to perceive what they do or what they don't do through this identity, so it doesn't matter. How many times we affirm and we bring them here, doesn't matter. We're going to perceive the amounts of money, how we perceive money from this identity, so it doesn't matter. Like, so we want to like really get a grip on self-mastery, not the thing itself, and start to disidentify with all this junk. And then, yeah. So like make a little deal with yourself that you're gonna care more today. Oh, another thing too. I was talking about this with on the monthly coaching people I've been working with. Is like, yeah, let's do a day at a time. I'll learn this in Alcoholics Anonymous. I know it sounds, when we're like, dude, we got to get something in the future. We got to get something here so I feel better. It's like, listen, anytime we're doing something as a means to an end, we're not living in the end, because we're thinking of this end instead of from it. We're thinking it's over there, right? In AA, a long time ago, I remember being like, well, what am I supposed to do, dude? Like 10 years from now, when I'm dead, this happens, da-da-da. And I was like, and what if I have a daughter and she wants to get married? Am I not gonna be able to drink then? And the guy was like, first of all, it's not 10 years from now, number one. And number two, you don't even have a daughter. I remember laughing, like, 'cause I was trying to be like, what, I have to give this up forever? Like, alcohol forever? What am I gonna do? What? And he was like, no, you just gotta give it up today. And I love that approach. I didn't at first, but I love that approach because, like, it brings you back here. Because guess what? There's a thing called like a compound effect, like compound interest, things like that. Like, that's a whole nother. But you ever heard that question? It's like, would you rather have $1 million or a penny doubled every day for a month? And then you look at like what that is, like the penny doubled every day. It's like, what the fuck, right? It's just compounding. So like, if you start today to worry about your state of being, or be concerned with your state of being more so than out there, and you focus on not getting thrown off guard and not buying into thought and circumstance, and you don't worry about manifesting something 30 years from now or 5 years from now or 2 weeks from now, and you just say today, I'm going to start my journey to self-mastery, then you focus more on the inside and your internal state and how you're being and living your life, having fun, knowing it's done, and things like that. And not buying into emotion, or just letting emotion come and go. Same thing with thoughts, not buying into circumstance. Working with yourself, not drinking enough water. I mean, you definitely want to be drinking enough water, things like that, where you're taking care of yourself. And then you do the same thing tomorrow. Focus on that day, right? Because these days are going to add up. And then all those months that you spent trying to manifest person, with this idea of them in the future, like, I have to do these things to get this thing. If you're doing this each day, focused on self-mastery, concerned with your inner state, then it's going to compound, and you're living in an end. You're being this right here, right now, that day. And this adds up to like a predominant way of being, and then you're going to start to see things come to you, because you're not lost in this idea of in some future moment and thinking of the end. You'll be thinking from the end, because this is a state of being that is going to, everything that you want to be like will be part of that reflection. So anyway, that's all I got. Love you guys. See you a little bit later for the live stream. Love you guys.